the still dark waters of the Baltic Sea just past midnight on October 8, 2023. The new Polar Bear, a massive 163-meter-long container ship, quietly glides through the Gulf of Finland, heading back towards St. Petersburg. The ship is cruising through the Northeast Passage. It's a new maritime trade route along the northern coast of Russia, connecting Europe with Asia. Due to climate change and the melting Arctic ice, this route is becoming increasingly accessible and could offer a faster alternative to traditional routes like the Suez Canal. In recent years, Russia and China have intensified their interest in developing this route. Both countries are investing in the necessary infrastructure and icebreaker fleets to promote the commercial use of the Northeast Passage. This could significantly reduce transport times between Western Russia and China. But at precisely 1:21 a.m., something strange happens. The ship abruptly slows from 11 knots to just 5, hovering above the Baltic Connector pipeline, a vital gas pipeline between Estonia and Finland. Only minutes later, it picks up speed again, continuing its journey as if nothing had happened. But something did occur. At 2 a.m., engineers at Gasgrid Finland notice a sudden, drastic drop in pressure. The pressure in the pipeline, once steady at 34.5 bars, plummets to 12, then to 6. A rupture was suspected. At dawn, the media began reporting that there was a leak in the pipeline. Investigations began immediately. What they found was shocking: a ruptured pipe and an anchor found nearby. The anchor belonged to the new Polar Bear. Yet this isn't an isolated incident. In the months leading up to this event, another ship had been spotted in the same waters, the Russian research vessel Sibiryakov. According to Boris, a former crew member, this was no ordinary research ship. He remembers hidden military equipment and surveillance operations aboard the ship. And in early June 2023, just 4 months before the Baltic Connector breakdown, the Sibiryakov was seen hovering over the same pipeline, moving suspiciously slowly, as if mapping the infrastructure below. The damage to the Baltic Connector pipeline disrupted Estonia's gas supply, forcing it to temporarily rely on Latvia for gas. Repairs to the pipeline were costly, estimated at $38 million, and took several months. 2 ships, 1 critical piece of infrastructure, and a trail of clues that suggests this was more than just an accident. The Finnish investigation into the incident is still ongoing. Finnish authorities confirmed that the damage was caused by the ship's anchor, which was found on the seabed near the ruptured pipeline. The investigation focused on whether the incident was an accident or intentional. Despite that, it is highly unlikely that an anchor could accidentally fall off during a storm. Modern ships like the new Polar Bear are equipped with multiple safety mechanisms to ensure that anchors remain secure, even under extreme weather conditions. The former owner of the new Polar Bear emphasized that the anchor cannot simply fall off on its own. Several deliberate steps must be taken to release it. Stefan Kruger, a professor of shipbuilding at the Technical University in Hamburg, also stated that it is completely impossible for an anchor to be unintentionally deployed without notice. This perspective casts doubt on claims that the incident was caused by a storm, especially given the calm weather conditions in the Gulf of Finland at the time. The Baltic Sea is of immense strategic and economic importance for both Europe and Russia. For Europe, the Baltic Sea connects several major economies, including Germany, Sweden, Finland, and the Baltic states. For Russia, the sea is vital for access to European markets and for its naval presence. On top of that, there's a lot of critical infrastructure in the Baltic, including several vulnerable components, such as gas pipelines, undersea communication cables, and offshore wind farms. Pipelines like Nord Stream and Baltic Connector are essential for transporting natural gas from Russia to Europe. Tensions in the region have been on the rise since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The war has brought renewed focus on the vulnerability of the Baltic Sea's infrastructure, as both espionage and sabotage threats have escalated. In the NATO discussions were held on improving surveillance, deploying technologies such as underwater sensors, and enhancing naval patrols to prevent future incidents.
This has been an issue which has been high on the NATO agenda, part of our efforts related to resilience for many years, and many things have been done to protect this critical infrastructure.
NATO has increased both air and sea patrols in regions like the Baltic Sea, following recent damage to undersea pipelines and cables in the area.
Since the beginning of Russia's war against Ukraine in 2022, at least 72 Russian research vessels have been spotted in the Baltic Sea and North Sea, with many of these ships suspected of espionage activities. These vessels have reportedly made over 400 voyages, with suspicious behavior detected during at least 54 of these trips, often near critical infrastructure such as pipelines, communication cables, and wind farms. One of the primary methods is turning off their automatic identification system transponders. By switching off these systems, the ships can move undetected. In addition to going dark on radar, these vessels often engage in suspicious navigation patterns, such as moving slowly, performing zigzag maneuvers, or stopping for hours at a time in one location. Russia's operations in the Baltic and North Seas are often linked to military units like the Main Directorate of Deep Sea Research. This secretive branch of the Russian Navy is tasked with conducting deep sea research, but is widely believed that they map out undersea infrastructure instead, with the potential for future disruption during conflicts. The activities are seen as part of Russia's broader strategy of hybrid warfare. By mid-October 2022, another ship of the Navy Department, the Espionage Gorigled-Shan, was lingering in the waters around Fehmarn, a region containing a NATO submarine diving zone. The ship engaged in slow, zigzagging maneuvers for several hours, raising suspicion about its true purpose. German authorities closely monitored the vessel's activities, suspecting that it was conducting covert operations under the guise of scientific research. By April 2023, the vessel was again spotted, this time approaching the German coast. The vessel entered a restricted area, a German offshore wind farm near the island of Rügen, without proper authorization. Upon noticing the ship's presence, the German federal police contacted the crew and ordered the ship to leave. After a brief 20-minute standoff, the Espionage Gorigled-Shan complied and exited the area. These waters, once simply a passage for trade and energy, have become a battleground for covert operations and strategic positioning. The events of 2023 and the years before are a clear warning. Europe must protect its critical infrastructure before the next accident strikes.